Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Siti from Group 3 in Language Testing and Assessment A3 class. So, in this video, I will have a presentation about our part of group discussion about assessing speaking in Chapter 7. Okay, so I will explain about the first part about the definition and also the basic types of speaking. Okay. The first one is a definition about assessing speaking. From a pragmatic view of language performance, listening in the previous chapter on chapter 6 and speaking in this chapter are almost always closely interrelated. Only in limited contexts of speaking like monologues, speeches, or telling a story and reading aloud can we assess oral language without the oral participation of an interlocutor. So speaking is a productive skill that can be directly and empirically observed. Thus, observations are invariably colored by the accuracy and effectiveness of a test taker's listening skill, which necessarily compromises the reliability and validity of an oral production test. So, in this speaking, there are 4 basic types of speaking. Here's the first one is imitative. So, imitative is the ability to simply parrot back or imitate a word or phrase, or possibly a sentence. While this is a purely phonetic level of oral production, a number of prosodic, lexical, and also grammatical properties of language may be included in the criterion performance. It is interested only in what is traditional labeled pronunciation. No inferences are made about the test taker's ability to understand or convey meaning or to participate in an interactive conversation. So the second types of speaking is intensive. Okay, intensive is the production of short stretches of oral language designed to demonstrate competence in a narrow band of grammatical, phrasal, lexical, or phonological relationships. The examples of intensive assessment tasks include directed response tasks, reading aloud, sentence, and dialogue completion, limited picture, cue talks, including simple sequences, and also translation up to the simple sentence level. Okay, so the third types of speaking is responsive. Okay, responsive assessment tasks include infraction and task comprehension. Usually, it is only 1 or 2 follow-up questions or retards. In responsive assessment tasks, it includes of very short conversation, standard greetings, and small talk, simple requests and comments. And for the example of responsive assessment, because it's include a very short conversation, we can see from the examples like point A, Mary and Do. So the short conversation means like, excuse me, do you have the time? And Do answers, yeah, 9:15. It's just a short conversation. It means responsive speaking. Okay. It also happened in the conversation in point B and point C, like you see in the screen. Okay. Then the fourth types of speaking is interactive. So in interactive, quite different with responsive because this is longer conversation than responsive assessment. Interactions can take the two forms of transactional language, which has the purpose of exchanging specific information, or interpersonal exchanges, which have the purpose of maintaining social relationships. So it's longer than responsive if it if in responsive, it's short conversation. So in the interactive, the longer conversation because the goals or the purpose of this kind of types of speaking is maintaining social relationships. Okay, so for examples like in interpersonal exchanges, oral production can become pragmatically complex with the need to speak in casual register and use colloquial language, ellipses, slang, humor, and other sociolinguistic conventions. Okay, and the fifth, this is the last steps of speaking. It is extensive or monologue. Extensive oral productions tasks include speeches, oral presentation, and storytelling, during which the opportunity for oral interactions from listeners is either highly limited, perhaps to non-verbal responses, or ruled out altogether. Okay. Language style is frequently more deliberative or planning involved and formal for extensive tasks, but we cannot rule out certain informal monologues such as casually delivered speech, like the name of in the brackets extensive mean monologue, like presentation, storytelling, and etc. Yeah, I think that's all for my explanation in part 1 about assessing speaking. It consists of definition and also the basic types of speaking. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.